A diplomatic push to de-escalate the US and Israeli war with Iran appears to be taking shape. Al Jazeera has learned that Pakistan is at the center of the efforts. Official Pakistani sources tell us that Islamabad is talking to Iran about a 15-point US peace plan proposed by Washington. Iran's ambassador to Pakistan says the country is always engaged in what he called consultations with friendly country, but that does not mean negotiations. US President Donald Trump insists that talks are taking place. He said Tehran has agreed to never have a nuclear weapon and that Washington has won the war. Now, despite that, several thousand US troops are being deployed to the region. Iran's Central Command has firmly denied any negotiations. A military spokesperson said there will be no compromise and Tehran, not Washington, will decide when the situation returns to, quote, the way it was.
Do not call your defeat an agreement. The era of your promises is over. Today, the world has two fronts, truth and falsehood. And every freedom-seeking person will not be deceived by the waves of your media. Has the level of your internal conflicts reached the point where you are negotiating with yourselves? There will be no sign of your investments in the region, nor will you see the previous prices of energy and oil until you understand this. Stability in the region is guaranteed by the powerful hand of our armed forces. Stability comes through power.
We have a team of correspondents covering the latest developments from Dubai, Ramallah in the occupied West Bank, Baghdad and Tehran, where we have Tawhid Asadi. Well, Tawhid, the Iranian military spokesman has dismissed Trump's claims that they're talking. Now, how significant is that? And that the message really that is coming across the board from Iran?
Well, actually, this is not this military spokesperson for the headquarters of for the joint military headquarters of Khatam al-Anbiya, who came out to deny any report about the negotiations between Tehran and Washington. We know that in addition to him, we've got the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs coming out echoing the same statement, saying that right now there is no such a negotiation between the two sides. And we know that we are talking about a potentiality which is overshadowed by contextual elements of the complexity of the situation. We know that there are so many knots to be untangled, and compared to previous times that we had negotiations between the two sides, the situation is, I would say, utterly different. And added to that, it's this cloud of mistrust when it comes to the trajectory of talks, and specifically when it comes to the Iranian vantage point pertaining to the potentiality of a negotiation. And of course, it is the ongoing nature of the airstrikes that is another element contextually speaking. Iranians are saying that talking about negotiations when the Americans and the Israelis are continuing their campaign of airstrikes is not that much relevant, but still it goes without saying that the diplomatic interactions, not with the United States in a direct way, but also with regional countries and beyond that, is going on. And we have a long list, I would say, phone conversations between Abbas Araghchi and his counterparts from, I would say, Russia, Oman, Malaysia, Egypt, South Korea, China, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan. He had phone conversation with these counterparts, and in one of them with the Egyptian counterpart, Cairo said that it is involved in interactions with global and local players to decrease the amount of tensions at this point. So we can expect a sort of communication. However, when it comes to direct negotiation between Iran and Washington, there is no confirmation from the Tehran side.
Tell me, Tawhid, what's it like on the ground in Tehran after another night of attacks?
Indeed, this is just a sort of, I would say, exchange of fire between the two sides over the past 24 hours. We know that capital was witnessing a continuation of these airstrikes in the central part last night. We were able to feel the shockwave of one of these massive blasts that took place in other parts of the capital. We also hear similar reports. Activation of the air defense system is also reported not only across the capital but also in other cities. And the latest comes from the city of Tabriz, in which a complex belonging to the employees of the railway company was targeted, in which at least, according to local authorities, 7 people were killed. Other strikes are reported in Shiraz, Karaj, Qazvin, and in Shahr Rey in particular. We know that a cultural facility was targeted, in which several people were killed or injured. All in all, we're dealing with this continuation of airstrikes on the one hand, and on the other hand, IRGC, the armed forces of the country, are talking about the continuation of their retaliatory strikes. The latest was Wave AT under the operation they called True Promise 4, that they're saying they're targeting the Israeli territories. And at this point, I can say that seeing the ongoing nature of this exchange of missiles and fires and drones, I would say we are far from, practically speaking, any point of de-escalation.
Thank you. Tawhid Asadi there, joining us from Tehran.